Hi, I'm Donatello the Scientist Game Cat. Pass you a ninja slice. So, for some time now, I've been trying to make a viewer takeover intro that is scary and filled with horror. But all my ideas, I just couldn't make them work. They just seemed cheesy to me. First, I had spiders. Then I was like, no. And then a barber. No. Maybe dread halls? I don't think so. So I thought to myself, Donatello, let's start from square one. Let's try to scare at least one game cat. Welcome to Viewer Takeover.
This is Viewer Takeover. We film every Monday night. We bring it to YouTube every Tuesday. Tuesday? I don't know. Last week it was like Sunday or something, so I don't think you should believe anything that I'm saying. But my name's Brian Paul from this channel right here. You should believe that, and you should definitely believe that the guy to my right, Blake Stone, our guest this week from Vitruvius VR, makers of Shadow Legend and one of our cult classic favorites around here, Marbles of VR Adventure. Blake, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. Yeah, it's great to see you guys. Great to be on the show.
Nice. I'm loving the background here. I don't even know what we're looking at. Are those masks above that closet? What is happening in your background?
He's got all his VR headsets back.
Those are VR headsets. I couldn't even
Yeah, they're
tell.
hanging on the wall.
Yeah, all of our VR headsets over there. And then, PlayStation VR over on the other side there.
Nice.
Exclusive Without Parole tour of the Vitruvius office.
Was that the whole tour, just turning the camera to
That
the
was, there's two other deaths. So there's two more of us than last year.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've doubled the size of your team. It's not just you and Colton anymore.
Yeah. No, we got an office. That was at the beginning of March, and then COVID happened, so that we were only working with the guys for 2 weeks before not needing the office anymore. But yeah, we're back now. Just starting last week. So
congratulations, man. That's fantastic news.
Glad to hear it.
And the other guys that you might be witnessing here on the screen, Dave from Dave Station VR. You're disappointed, aren't you?
I don't have to listen to it.
Oh, I only did one.
We all win. Oh, I took my headphones off. I guess you weren't watching the video. Yeah, I specifically took off my headphones.
I was trying to appease everybody. And of course, that guy on the right-hand side of the screen is AJ from The Underground, PSVR Underground.
The only thing I love more than flipping steaks is feeding horses carrots, Brian.
Nice. I like playing fetch with doggies. Excellent. And every week on Viewer Takeover, we have to thank a whole lot of people. And the first person we want to thank, of course, is Donatello, the Scientist Game Cat, for that amazing Viewer Takeover introduction. Blake, did you watch that? Did you understand any of what was going on there?
Yeah, I did watch it. I thought it was kind of scary at the end. It reminded me of Kevin from The Office at the end a little bit. I don't know if you've seen that episode, but
it's some deep Without Parole lore from the Discord. Very inside baseball stuff.
So many references. Toss me into the slice. The broccoli, the lamp. Nailed it.
I'm going to say right now, if you can name and explain every single Without Parole reference, every single inside joke in that video, do that in the comments below, and maybe you'll get a $10 gift card for the region of your choice.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to introduce next week's Viewer Takeover, I'm pretty sure you might be able to. There might be one in the queue, but there might not be. I don't know. I got to look to see if it's any good. Send it to withoutparole@gmail.com. The more broccoli, the better. But of course, Donatello and his ninja slice, not the only person we want to thank. We also want to thank these people. These people down here, the people who went to patreon.com/withoutparolegames. They're giving us $1 or more every single month, and we love you for that. Thank you very much. We want to give a shout out especially to our Patreon leaders, MTM the Game Cat, T. Flaros, and Joshua McCrory. We don't ask you to give any money to be a part of this community, but if you like what you see, please consider helping us out. And then, of course, the last people we want to thank, before we get the show rolling here, a bunch of people who changed their name to Game Cat. Isn't that right, AJ?
That's right, Alpha. We would like to thank those who changed their name to something Game Cat related, or something Game Cat adjacent, as you, Alpha, and something Game Cat adjacent would like to say. And this week, we have 2 new Game Cats to welcome to the Game Cat Dojo. But of course, with our special guest here, Mr. Blake Stone, we're going to let him read the name changes this week.
Right, I'll give it a shot here. So yeah, 2 new GameCat name changes are GameCat, formerly Secret Boss turned Ally.
Who do you think that could be?
I don't
know.
I don't know. Is that one of your alt
I mean,
accounts?
I think that was probably someone named Secret Boss turned Ally that changed their name. I mean, just reading it, that's what it seems like to me.
I don't
Okay.
know. The mystery is so deep. Who else we got, Blake?
Then we got Nathan Drake, Zombie Slayer, the GameCat.
Good old Nathan Drake.
Cool name.
Nice little Uncharted 1 reference there, it looks like.
Yeah.
I feel like Uncharted needs to do one of those Undead Nightmare kind of things and just like make a whole zombie game, and then this would be more pertinent than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you change your name to GameCat and you want a shout out next week's show, make sure you put #GameCat in the comments below, so we can give you a shout out. Actually, not us so much as like whatever random developer happens to be here. Hopefully, he's your favorite developer, and if it's not, then keep changing your name until it is. All right, this is usually the time of the show when we dive into some viewer questions, but I think since we got Blake here, it's very, very excited to kind of hear what's going on. You gave us a little peek behind the curtain when we started the show, saying that the team has expanded. You work in the office. What is going on over there, man? Tell us some more.
Yeah, so I guess when we first started, when the PlayStation VR just came out, it was just me and Colton. Started off with Marvel's VR adventure, which, yeah, it was awesome that you guys did the review. I think you were the first one to put out a review for the game, and that it was a positive review. Yeah, it definitely helped us a lot. And then that did decently well on PlayStation VR. We came up with Shadow Legend I guess, last January. And yeah, so we just really took everything we learned from Marvel's, brought it into Shadow Legend, and now we've expanded the team from just 2 of us to 4 guys now. And yeah, we're just really trying to take like our inventory management system, our combat, our climbing picks, all of our different quests and VR mechanics, and just really polish them for this next game, which is going to be more of a open-ish world sci-fi fantasy adventure game.
Ooh, okay, I'm listening. That sounds good.
So at the beginning, like right when we finished Shadow Legend, I was like, okay, everyone asks for open world every single time we come out with the game. Is it open world? So I tried to do open world right when it first started, and it seems pretty amazing to create an entire open world VR game, but I think you need like 10 times more people to make it a real open world game. That's why I've only really seen like Skyrim and stuff like that where it's already made by hundreds of people. But what we're going for is more of an interconnected world. So think like Dark Souls 1 kind of thing. So it's way bigger areas than Shadow Legend ever was. So say 4 times the Winter Courtyard area just in one area. Nice. And then sort of interconnecting levels in that kind of way. So if you had like the prison area and then say like a market castle area, and then all of those interconnected into one one level. And so that's kind of what we're going for this next game, is a interconnected, semi-open world-ish sci-fi shooter. So there'll be 3 different types of weapons. You'll have a melee weapon to start off with, which is just basically a hilt. And then you'll be able to collect blueprints in the game to get different axes, swords, spears, all sort of energy-based weapons. And then you'll have a pistol, which is like kind of like a light gun. You can find different stocks and barrels and sights to kind of upgrade those weapons. And then sort of a medium-sized gun, which is like a shotgun sniper combo. So based on the different blueprints you find in the game, you can go to the crafting table and sort of like craft your own weapon from there. And so I think from what we learned from Shadow Legend is that people wanted to almost use the grinding wheel and use the anvil to fix their swords, make it better all throughout the game. And so we're trying to do that with all the weapons, so like pistol, heavy gun, and melee type weapon for this next one. So it should really feel like these are your weapons in the game.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a ton of info too. I mean, you've got me pretty excited here. Like, I think a lot of people out there are going to be really glad to hear some of the behind the scenes stuff you guys are working on there, because That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So hopefully it works out though. So we're still making
Yeah,
it. But
for sure.
yeah.
It's funny that you're talking about you're saying this is a sci-fi setting, and then you start referring to some of the weapons as axes, and that doesn't scream sci-fi in my head. What kind of inspirations from like other media are you taking from?
Yeah, so it's more of a sci-fi fantasy based game. So you still have that like sword fighting ish combat, but you'll be able to approach these enemies in like any way you want. So yeah, if you wanted to use melee combat, you can. If you want to stay far back and use sniper, you can do that too. And so we're trying to make it so you can approach the combat in a lot of different ways. But yeah, I'd say my main sort of inspirations are like the Dark Souls, Soulsborne type games. Those just in the past 5 years have been my favorite type of game. So it's kind of hard to get away from that when I know it seems to work so well. And yeah, just trying to bring that over to VR.
The only thing I have to say is please make a game I can actually beat, because I love those games too, but I never finished them. I never finished those games.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too difficult in VR to make a game that's like just super challenging, because it's like it's actually you in the game. So I think it would just be like frustrating. But yeah, it's going to be possible to beat it.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the open world stuff, I mean, obviously bringing other people into the team has been, helpful. You said it requires more than just two people to make this happen. But what about the hardware to make this happen? I know making something like this run on an OG PS4 might be kind of difficult. Are you targeting the PlayStation 5, PSVR2, or can you not talk about that kind of stuff yet?
That's kind of what we were deciding on like a year ago. It's like, do we want to go all in and then just hope that PlayStation is going to come up with a PSVR2? And so we did kind of decide that is like we're going to go with a PC build first, and then just hope to God that Sony makes a PlayStation VR2 work with the PS5, and that they use the DualSense controllers. And basically, split the DualSense controller in half and have two interactive controllers. So it seems like they did exactly that, or they are going to do exactly that. So I'm pretty excited for the possibilities with the adaptive triggers and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Were you guys celebrating over there as much as we were over here when they kind of broke the news on the next gen of PSVR?
Yeah, it was kind of like a sigh of relief kind of thing.
Yeah, huge sigh over here too. Very, very happy.
Well, sci-fi and sword fighting, and inspired by Dark Souls, or Souls, I should say. This has my name written all over it. I can't wait to see, man. Yeah,
it's been super fun making it. We even incorporated some of the climbing pick stuff from Shadow Legend in there as well, which I think will be pretty cool with the adaptive triggers, or hopefully adaptive grips that they'd have on the new controllers. So you just kind of imagine like the Nathan Drake sliding down the rock face wall, kind of feeling it vibrate like the I think it was like the GPU Jungle Monkey part of the demo in Astrobot. So I think all that kind of stuff will be super cool, and it will be even better in VR because you won't even really notice it. I think it will just feel super immersive.
Excellent. What do you think, guys? Should we jump into some of the questions that the viewers asked us this week?
Absolutely. But Brian,
hey,
if people are watching and they don't know how to leave a question, I think I should chime in here real quick.
I think
so. What you're going to do is you're going to leave a hashtag viewer takeover with your question on any YouTube video on this channel, or if you would like, this is the better idea. Just if you ask me. There's a Discord link below. Click on that, join the Discord, and in there we have a whole channel dedicated to viewer takeover questions. Drop it in there. One way or the other, we will find it. Brian will grind them all down into a fine paste and then reconstitute 3 of them, spit them out onto the internet, and so I don't know what we do here.
Viewer takeover is disgusting.
Yeah,
Wow. And with all that out of the way, Blake, do you want to take us away with the first question?
Yeah, sounds good. So this is from Hippo, I think. If GTA5 does go VR, do you think it will be campaign only or both single and multiplayer? as they sell a lot of shark cards in the flat version.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if they're going to go through the effort to make it single player, there's going to be multiplayer as well. So yeah, I think if they're going ahead with something like that, they're just going to do the entire thing.
So you think they would do like the full-on current state GTA Online, all the upgrades, all the little side missions, all that stuff, every single thing in VR? Because that's a tall order. I think they've added so much over the years. Like, I could
Yeah, that's
see
true.
like a more basic version closer to like the original launch of GTA Online before they had years
Yeah.
and years and years of stuff. Because like, even if the base game works, you got to make sure every single one of those little things actually works properly
I
in
guess,
VR,
yeah,
right?
it would be closer to what the original launch was at that point then.
Yeah, it just seems like
Yeah.
a huge undertaking to redo all that in VR. But who
Mhm.
knows? I mean, I've been surprised before. No Man's Sky, So
Yeah.
Blake, we talk a lot on this channel about if there's a game that could sell a ton of headsets, like one specific game that could make VR mainstream. And obviously, Grand Theft Auto 5 has been one of the most popular, if not the most popular game of the last 3 generations. Like it came out at the end of the PlayStation 3, and it was top selling game then. Again, PS4, again PS5. Do you think that this could potentially be the game that would push VR into the mainstream if they were able to get the full campaign and the full multiplayer mode in?
Yeah, I actually think it could, or at least it would help a lot. Especially with the new PlayStation VR. I think it's really like Sony's going to do a big push on this next headset, and if they did stuff like this, I think it won't just be this one game, but sort of a culmination of like a lot of other big games, maybe not as big as GTA, but other big games that it could actually push like VR more into the mainstream. I'm not sure how far into the mainstream they'll get like with this next headset, but from what I've seen, it seems like PlayStation VR owners buy more games than standard sort of PlayStation gamers. So, if they're buying 5 times as many games as normal gamers, then you only have to sell 20 million headsets versus the 100 million PlayStation 4s, I guess, but PlayStation 5s eventually in the future. So yeah, I think it actually could push it into the mainstream.
I think the virality of something like that, like people posting YouTube videos of them in VR in GTA, like GTA videos are already a huge thing that kids watch a ton of. I mean, you have a movie maker in there, people do all kinds of role play stuff. There's like a whole subgenre of YouTube videos that's all just like people fucking around in GTA. If that was in VR, all the PewDiePies and everybody in the world would be like, look at this crazy stuff. And then everyone would be interested in it, I think. That could be pretty huge, I think.
Dave, you know full well, man. Like your drunken bar fight is one of your most popular videos, right?
It is my most popular video. And it's like, I thought about it for 2 seconds. I hit play. I was drunk. I just, whatever. And now it's like the first thing people see when they look at my popular uploads or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Some games just have that thing to them that people want to watch, and it seems funny. And like, I get questions about it all the time still, even though it's been out for years. And I would qualify it as like not that great. Like it's not a game I would recommend, but it's silly and stupid and people like that sort of thing. GTA is a good game, plus it'll be silly and stupid to watch in VR. So I think that's all the bases covered.
Yeah, I'm just thinking how easy it's going to be to set up the new PlayStation VR2, just with they're saying one cord plugged in, have the controllers just there. I think it's going to be, once you get one, you'll have it there and you'll leave it there set up. If GTA comes out in VR, you're going to get that. So I think it's just sort of, they're trying to ingrain this into just gaming in general. I think, just having an easy to use headset is the first step there.
Yeah, it is definitely shocking to hear the number of people that, I think all three of us, probably all four of us, we plugged in our PlayStation VR headset. We never unplugged it. We never just maybe threw it in a case or something, put it next to the couch. But like, we're certainly not putting it away in the closet every single time we're done using it, right? And so it was kind of fascinating to hear all the stories. People like, well, because of my kids, because of my pets, because of my everything, I actually disconnect it and put it away in the closet every time I'm done using it. I didn't ever thought of that as a possibility. It sounds like such a hassle to set up. I would never play mine if that was something I had to do.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, just with one cord, I don't think, even if you do unplug it, yeah, it's easy to set up again. And yeah, with bigger games coming out, like if something came out like that, then yeah, you would just plug it back in and play GTA.
Right. Absolutely. AJ, you've been kind of quiet over there, man. Why don't you chime in? Tell us what you're thinking about.
Well, we know that Rockstar has been had a team that's been working on some kind of project. I definitely don't think it's gonna be another LA Noir, even though that'd be pretty cool. The first one was a good first start. Hopefully, they learned a lot from that one, because there were definitely some kind of like anti-VR measures taken for sickness and safety. But overall, like just getting that taste of that Rockstar world in VR and it looking really nice was awesome. So I think ideally I'd like to see the entire GTA 5 and the online ported over into VR and converted. But I definitely think this is something we see one way or another. Absolutely gonna happen. That would be a huge headset seller. And like Blake mentioned, I think they're going to come out swinging with a lot of big games that they can promote on like a big stage and stuff that people are really ready for. But to be honest with you, I'm really just honed in on multiplayer for some reason. I really feel like GTA some kind of GTA multiplayer thing is what it's going to be. I don't know. I can't pull away from that for some reason.
And my friend Lewis, I remember when I was working at the restaurant, my friend Lewis, when he finally got a PlayStation 4, I guess, and dove into Grand Theft Auto multiplayer or online, and he couldn't stop talking. Like every single day that I saw him, he couldn't stop talking about how cool it was that even on a flat screen, he was piling into a car with his friends and driving around. They're all talking at the same time and they're going on a mission together. And the epicness of that potential in VR, like, is just, to me, is mind-blowing. That is where VR needs to get, to convince people that no, VR is not a fad, or, as you know, obviously I have a question on everybody's mind. This is an IGN thread that's been going around today. But on top of that, like, it is mainstream, and it's something that will convince people that VR is here. You know, people say it's not quite there yet, and I think this might be the game that propels people to say, no, it is here. Fuck this whole "it's not there yet" thing. It's here. It's good to go.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll also have to cue the chorus of people like, oh, well, this isn't a new game for VR. This is just another port of one existing game from 3 generations ago, or whatever the hell people are going to say, inevitably, you know?
Yeah, well, I think they'll be excited overall. I mean, Skyrim turned out great. A lot of these older ports, nobody's complaining about Doom 3 right now. People seem pretty excited. So I think there's still a lot of barriers that are being broken right now. And every single time that happens, it's going to keep moving VR forward as a whole. And PSVR2 is, Blake was also saying, how much is this going to push more headsets out there? It's definitely, I would expect nothing less than at least double or triple, if not more. But I think they've come out with their messaging here saying like, this is the next iteration to the long journey that VR has. And this is just their next iteration for this generation. And it's going to keep evolving and keep evolving. And I think that's like super exciting personally.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think they need to sell, it always gets compared against the number of consoles out there. But like I said before, it's the amount of games I buy is like, it way surpasses it on VR than just normal games. So if the average is 5 times as many VR games bought as normal games, then they only have to sell 5 times less VR headsets for it to be just as big a success financially. So I'm thinking for the PlayStation 5, they're probably not even really making any money on it. Like every console they come out with, they just sell it at cost. So the only real money they make is on people buying games or PlayStation Plus subscriptions. And then with the headset, like I think the reason why they're going with just the one cord, and then I think it's probably not going to be wireless, it's just to save all that cost. So you don't have to pay for the battery or the processor or anything that goes into the headset. You have a screen, some cameras for inside-out tracking, and a piece of plastic with a cord. And then you'll have the DualSense controllers just broken in half, basically, with all that technology that's already been built. So I'm thinking they'd be able to get the headsets down to say, $300, $400 kind of thing. Hopefully $300, but
Sounds good to
Would
me.
be nice. Yeah.
And
But
then
I would pay the 400 if they threw in, of course, the fancy new touch sense controllers, whatever they're going to call them. I don't know what they're going to call them. Motion sense controllers.
That's got a nice ring to it. I like that.
Yeah.
Motion sense.
and then if they sell those at cost there, then it's every game someone buys, it's just more revenue for PlayStation. So I think it's going to be around $299, $399. Just based on they already have the technology from the controllers made. It's really just putting them in a different form factor.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this actually segues really well into our next question, if you guys are ready to jump over to that one, because there's a lot in this one. Who comes to us from Daniel Williams on the Viewer Takeover. He says, #Viewer Takeover, #BeatsABet. I bet that PSVR2 will launch with RE Village VR support, and that VR support includes platform-exclusive interactive controls tailored to the new PSVR2 controllers. You'll be able to examine items, aim guns, swing your knife, and block attacks, all with hand movement. This is my prediction / wishful thinking. I'm going to put a question at the end of it because there isn't one here and say, do you guys think so too? And then that's the question. So it's kind of almost exactly what we were talking about, but in the context of Resident Evil now. So, Brian, I feel like I'd like to hear your thoughts on this first because you're the Resident Evil guy.
I mean, this was sort of everyone's. If anyone had a complaint about Resident Evil 7, this was it, right? They were like, it's just the game in VR visually, right? But then you're still playing it the exact same way with the controller, obviously with head tracking involved there too. But everybody wanted their hands in that, and I think everybody does want their hands in a game because it feels more impactful that way. Everything feels more tangible. You feel like you're actually there, not just moving a camera around with your head. So I mean, 100%, man. I want this, and I would love if this was a thing. There's a part of me that still is holding on to hope that, because I don't want to wait a year to play Resident Evil Village in VR. There's still a part of me that's like, maybe it's a PSVR1 title, and they'll treat it the exact same way that they treated Resident Evil 7, and just give us a DualShock 4 support with head tracking.
That would be easier for them to do.
So much easier.
Yeah. Because I was just looking at some of the gameplay footage for it. It reminds me so much of Canehurst Castle from Bloodborne. I don't know if you guys have ever made it that far.
Yep,
Bloodborne,
I did.
but yeah, it's it's one of the best looking areas I've ever seen in a game, and they've done that now in Resident Evil. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped just to be in the world. If it was in VR, it would be amazing. But yeah, I was looking at their inventory system. It's like a briefcase kind of thing that comes up on the screen. So if that could be an actual briefcase,
Hey,
kind of actually how
very
Shadow Legends chest is set up. It's got individual slots. And then you'd be able to manage your inventory and something like that. And then I was looking at the merchant. It was a guy in this carriage kind of thing. So if that was just interactive, you could see the items out in front of you. They already have a character there that you can interact with. So I think that would probably work pretty well.
Well, there's a lot of stuff you're talking about that I think Saints and Sinners proved that you can do really well. When you buy new items, it's in this little, it's kind of spread out in front of you on the side of a truck, and that's where you pick stuff from. And obviously the backpack system is almost exactly what you're describing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I can see being really hard is the close combat stuff. So I think the weapons would be the long range kind of shotgun I think they had, and then the pistol. I think that would be fairly easy to do with the motion controllers. It was just the close combat, pushing the enemies back that are near you. That would be a little bit harder because you would need all the physics on them to make it super immersive. So I'm not sure how they would go about that. But I think everything else seems fairly doable.
I feel like you could fib it a little bit there, and just like if the player raises their arms up, that's the gesture that initiates a blocking stance,
Yeah,
and
that's
then the
true.
character reacts accordingly. You don't have to actually, specifically block the thing
Yeah.
that's coming at you. But yeah, there's a lot of cool possibilities there. I mean, obviously, if they do any stuff like in the first one where you get your hand cut off momentarily, that'd be kind of weird if you have a motion controller in it.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
might be extra immersive. I don't know.
I think that would still work.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Just when you're in VR, and then if you just lost like your whole arm, like I think it would actually kind of feel like that. But like you'd still be holding the controller.
Maybe you're
So
waving around a
like-
nub and you have lost all the buttons on that hand and you can only use the buttons on your left hand.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just turn off all controls on that other hand, and
Oh my God.
I think that could work pretty well. Pick it up off the ground and take yourself back up.
Not only do I agree with you, Daniel Williams, thank you for writing in. I am hoping that this is the case, and I'll even raise you another pizza bet that Gran Turismo 7 will also be a launch title, and for the immersive controls option, you'll be able to grab the steering wheel and do this.
Ooh, I like that.
And that will be an option. Of course, it'll support the T150 or the driving wheels, which is in my opinion, probably the ultimate way to play. But not everyone, has that extra $250 to shell out. It's pretty expensive. So, but yeah, I think they'll maybe similar to the Quest, how like Dash Dash does. There's a joystick option, then there's like an immersive controls option where you can drive the steering wheel in the thing, and that will be my prediction / wishful thinking for the launch of PSVR2.
You know what would be kind of cool with that is like with driving games that use motion controls where you sort of got to like act like you're turning a wheel, but you don't have a wheel there.
Right.
If they had some sort of haptic that indicated when you're actually like in position on tendency, like, okay, this feels right. If I have it up here, it doesn't feel the same way. So now I know I'm in position, and kind of give you a physical representation of like where that wheel would be through the triggers might be kind of cool.
Shifting gears.
Oh, that would be fun. Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm
One hand on the wheel.
I'm building a list now that we've kind of delved into this territory.
Yeah.
I got Resident Evil 8, Gran Turismo 7, and then hey, let's just throw in Grand Theft Auto 5 while we're at it.
It's going to be a great launch, guys.
Well, saying, I mean, there's so much. I mean, we have plenty of time. They haven't even announced when this thing is coming. We're assuming, about a year, maybe longer, obviously. So what would be this huge, mind-bogglingly amazing showcase stopper of launch titles that we could expect from PlayStation VR2?
I mean,
Whatever Blake's working on.
Whatever Blake's right? Absolutely. Right.
Like in a new Uncharted made from the
Yeah.
ground up for VR.
Mhm.
And then so
Yes.
just all like the grappling and climbing and
Shooting.
full story. Like I think something like that. But I think it would have to be made specifically with the new controllers and new headset just from like ground up. I think those are the ones that are really going to stand out.
I think
as much like the ports of stuff, it will be big
There
studios
was-
making brand new games.
there was some mention of a Horizon VR kind of tie-in game, and that would be a really good kind of fit for a launch title for PSVR2 with the new controls. Obviously, the bow and arrow system, that you got your haptic triggers, bingo bango, that sells the system to people. You can feel the difference. So, I mean, that was a great game too. I think that franchise would bring people in.
Nathan Drake drives a Jeep quite a bit in Uncharted 4, right? And then it would be so great to be able to drive with one hand and shoot with another. That's always the thing that's in my head when we talk about Grand Theft Auto in VR. I was like, man, I just want to drive around and do like constant drive-by shooting.
The turret on the back of the thing.
Right? It sounds so screwed up to say out loud, but man, like that's like the VR dream, I think. Right? I don't know. That's
Exactly. Then so you're driving, shooting out the window, or someone else is driving one of the NPCs, and you're just in the back, like on like a turret, or like just something like that.
Right?
You're trying to recreate the experience of being in your own neighborhood in VR. constant drive-bys.
Pretty much. I think, wow, we've gotten really far away from this question. So okay, I mean, like I guess to just kind of wrap up Daniel Williams' prediction, are we all giving it a thumbs up, or are we going? It might be difficult.
Big thumbs up.
Yeah, we're just hoping it's the case, or
Okay.
do we really think it's going to be the case?
It's
We're
gonna
gonna go
happen.
with the 75%.
I'm
gonna happen.
75%.
Yeah.
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 Okay. I'm going 100%. I actually think that we might get PSVR1 support, and then
Oh yeah, actually more higher on that actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you think maybe both?
Yeah, I'd say yeah, again, if they're going to go through the effort of making it VR just already for the PlayStation 4 and the PSVR 1, then yeah, then it's not too much further to get it to be working with a new PSVR.
Yeah. I would like to
So
take.
yeah, maybe both.
I would like to go even a step further and say that when PSVR2 launches, they're also going to re-release Resident Evil 7 for it and give us all those motion controls that everybody wanted all this time.
4K.
Like if you're going to introduce like this new physics system or in like this new this new movement system, you might as well retrofit it into your last game and maybe double your profits. I don't know.
Not a bad idea.
All right, what do you think, AJ? Take us to the last question.
Last question comes from BitJelloboy30, that jiggly gamer cat from the Discord. Says hashtag viewer takeover like a pro. Since Microsoft acquired Bethesda, many of us have been worried that Bethesda will no longer focus on PSVR. However, we have Doom 3, yes, VR edition releasing in March. Does this put a nail in the coffin of that fear? And should we expect to possibly see some of Bethesda's other IPs in VR in the foreseeable future? Now, this one is interesting, guys, because we know that what he's talking about here, Microsoft did recently acquire ZeniMax, who owns Bethesda Softworks, basically Bethesda anything. And a lot of my fears from that were originally, we're not going to see any, like, goodbye PSVR support for anything. Luckily, Doom 3 is... they did say, Microsoft luckily did us a solid here and said we will honor any contracts for anything you guys have already in place. We will do that, and that's how we got Doom 3. Now, the one thing we don't know is how many contracts were signed, because they still make like Ghostwire Tokyo. There's still the possible Elder Scrolls in the future. So I will leave that part to you guys.
This is tough. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah,
man?
like
I mean, I think so. Microsoft doesn't have their own dedicated VR platform. They tried Windows Mixed Reality, but it was sort of just like a tie-in into existing systems. You go through the Oculus or the Steam way of doing things, just using one of their various headsets. But on their consoles, they've never gone for that. They've still said we're not interested at this time. So if you're Microsoft, I mean, you could keep making money on this stuff in other platforms. And then when you do eventually roll out VR support, you've got some back catalog. You could just throw in the Game Pass and people got a bunch of free VR games to play when they launch the system, which I assume they will at some point, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think there has been increasingly like competition is fading away a little bit. People are sharing exclusives. PC is getting some PSVR or Sony exclusives at least, and vice versa. We got the Oculus exclusive Vader Immortal stuff, and I think we'll continue to see things like that, where it's like, if it's a big enough IP that'll sell across all platforms, why limit your revenue stream if you're Microsoft? So yeah, I think they'll continue to put out stuff that could theoretically be available like on PSVR.
well, I think the Doom 3 like VR edition was made by Archiac Studios. So yeah, it wasn't actually completely made by Bethesda. So I think if they already had outstanding contracts like that, then they're going to keep making those games. Just hard to see. It's kind of tough to know what they're trying to do in the future. Like if Microsoft is going to be coming out with like a dedicated VR system, then I'd say they're probably going to get Bethesda to make from the ground up like amazing VR game, but come out with it on the Xbox or something like that. But then you could see it come over to PlayStation VR still. But I think now that they're completely owned by Microsoft, they're going to want to keep the new stuff, the new IP for them, the same way that I guess Sony has done in the past. Now they're a little bit more lenient, but I think with Microsoft, at least the Xbox install base being a lot smaller, they'll want to catch up a bit with these exclusives at least.
So Blake, if this is the first time anyone's ever seen your face or heard about your games, what's the best place to follow you? Where can they keep up with what you're doing?
I think the best place to follow us is on either the Shadow Legend Twitter channel or the Mervils Twitter channel. We're usually posting stuff quite often, usually sales for those two games on PlayStation. So I think, that's a good spot to stay in touch with us. And then we'll be posting about our new game on both those channels and with a new Twitter handle. So that you'll be able to follow our new game's progress as well.
I've got to ask, man. Obviously, Shadow Legend was definitely one of our favorite games of the last year. How did it sell?
It's done really well for us. So we've been able to hire a few new guys and make a bigger game this time. So sort of baby steps. Mervils did decently. Shadow Legend did better. So hopefully the next game can do even better. And then getting to the point where we can make these like large open world games. With a couple dozen people working with us. I think that's kind of where at least all these smaller VR studios are trying to get to. It's just harder to make a huge game with not too many people. But the better the games do, the more people we hire, and then the better the games are going to be.
This is great, man. It's been so exciting to be here with you and watch you grow step by step, game by game. We can't wait to see what happens next, man. It's a very, very exciting time.
Yeah, thanks.
Guys, make sure that if you have a viewer takeover introduction to introduce next week's show, you send it to withoutparole@gmail.com. Also consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/withoutparolegames. If you change your name to GameCat, like you should, because you love us almost as much as we love you, make sure you put hashtag GameCat in the comments below so we can give you a shout out next week's show, or whoever developer happens to be here. I hope it's your favorite. And then finally, of course, if you want to submit a viewer takeover question because you didn't like the ones on this week's show and you're like, come on, guys, better questions, well, submit some better questions and put that in the comments below. Hashtag viewer takeover, all one word, or join our Discord. The link's in the description. Head on over there and leave your comment in the viewer takeover channel. That's it, man. For another episode of viewer takeover, I don't know how this works. AJ, that's Dave, that's Blake, I'm Brian, and we're out. Our new favorite game to play on Viewer Takeover is what's the most interesting thing within arm's reach of you?
Let's see what I got here. I just cleaned up the place, so I got.
We back, baby.
I still got my Otter from
back
before.
with the aim controller.
But we've used the Otter before.
Come on, Blake. What do you got, man? I know there's something special. He's gonna pull out something crazy. I know it.
You guys want to see me with my silly headband on? Oh, what does he have? Oh, a little bonsai.
Ooh.
There he is.
Nice. I don't think I have anything good. I have a Rec Room mug. Does that count?
Is that the model that you're going to be using for the trees in your next game?
Oh,
it actually kind of is. It was sitting on my desk, and the very first tree in the first level looked almost exactly like that.
Nice.